Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar on the benefits of adopting Power BI within any organisation by myself, Dan Booth. Bit of a welcoming introduction, first of all, a little bit about me. So I come from a finance background, I'm SEMA qualified, joined m-hance about 8 years ago now as systems accountant, really looking at the reporting side of things, trying to bring everything together, looking at how we can advance at the time our 50 tabs Excel spreadsheets with lookups and pivots and things like that. I came in, we went through, we did a lot of things, we went through all the stuff. Really passionate about reporting, not just financial, but for an organisation, so the opposite sides as well, you know, the CRM side of things, SQL back data and things like that, which is why when we, obviously Microsoft really began to push Power BI, I was best placed to look at it for an organisation, given time to look at it, learn it, look at how it interacts with the different systems, and hopefully over the next 40 minutes or so, that's sort of what I've learned and how we at m-hance now deal and work with Power BI with our end users will really come across. Couple of bits of housekeeping. So during this session, all the lines will be set to mute to avoid any unnecessary noise interference. And at any point during the presentation, please feel free to type in the questions. If you, on your little bar or panel that opens up at the right-hand side, you will have a questions panel that you can type in and submit some questions. Because of when I've done sort of Power BI sessions before, some questions tend to be organisational specific. What I will do is answer the questions offline via email at the end of the session. If you want to wait until the end, then my contact details will be provided on the final slide. Please feel free to email me any questions or anything like that that you've got from what you've seen over the next 45, 50 minutes or so. Okay, quick agenda. We're going to go through, first of all, for those who are new to Power BI, what it is and how it can address the common reporting problems. Then we're going to go into how Power BI can be used, not just for the systems that us at m-hance sell, but for other things as well, how it can really bring your data together. We're then going to look at the different options around Power BI and specifically in detail around Power BI Pro, which really enables collaboration across organizations. And then finally, just as a summary, we'll go through how m-hance can help you and then the contact details on the final slide. So starting off, what is Power BI and how can Power BI be used to address the issues that any type of organization from any sector has? Some of you have done some presentations with me before. I may have seen this slide, so I do apologize, but I think it is key to get across to those who don't know about Power BI just what it is. It's visual is Power BI, so it consists of tables, you can build reports, you can build dashboards, graphs, custom visuals, anything like that to really highlight to whoever is reading your report and reading the data to really give that best view for whether you're a financial person or non-financial person. We can add slices, filters, so you don't need to keep running the report. And something just to get across at this point is Power BI trips and sort of spins on its head your traditional reporting methods where you will get a system, you would export that data into Excel, you'd then do some pivots on it, provide, and then do your rest with that. Power BI works completely the opposite way around. So you build your visuals, you build what you need, but because it's a Microsoft tool, you can always export the underlying data from a visual to Excel if you need to interrogate that data in Excel. The one thing that we would say with regards to this is the filters, the slices, you're looking at one visual that will change dependent on the filters and the slices that you want to have. So you really can get some consistency in the way you report and the data accuracy. The second thing, you know, this is live. It connects directly to the data sources. So as I said, it doesn't require somebody to export some data into Excel that can be manipulated. Power BI connects directly to the source data, be that CRM data, be it an Excel spreadsheet, be it Business Central, GP, I365, anything. doesn't connect via an export, it connects directly to the data source. And you have the ability to refresh data manually, or on some of the, Power BI Pro, we can schedule refresh data so that it updates at set times throughout the day. And it can connect to multiple data sources, which we will show shortly. So you may have a SQL back system, GP, you may have Business Central, you may have CRM, as I said before, but you may have other systems that are SQL backed or DBC backed. You may have just manual spreadsheets. You can load in multiple sources into Power BI and refresh these sources from the refresh schedule and manually by clicking on one button. As you would expect now, Power BI is in the cloud. So you have any reports that you publish into the online version, you can access via a mobile and tablet device. Same screens, same drill downs, same filtering. You have information available on the go, and you can license people to look at data purely from a Power BI license without giving them access to the source data systems themselves. So you can really control who gets to see what in your organization and give them that full 24/7 access if they need it. And just one thing to state, whatever I do go into when we look at the Power BI online version today, the same functionality is available on a mobile device. I'm just demoing from a laptop. And finally, it's informative. So you share reports. As it says there on GP. So imagine a GP, you've got a license or BC, anything really, where you've got licensed people licensed within that core system, your core financial users. You share reports with other users, so you do not need to have the people who you have shared reports with licensed to the core systems. We can create dashboards so people who do not need a level of data, dashboards can be created from Power BI. So it really does enable you as an organization to ensure that everybody, whether it's day-to-day reports for any function within your organization, whether it's management reports, senior management reports, trustee reports, anything like that, you can use Power BI to ensure that your different levels of reporting stakeholder have access to the right level of information at the right time. And that's a really big thing to make sure that people do not get blinded by data. They can see what they need to see in a format they need to see it and can easily understand in the easiest possible way straight away. Whenever I'm doing these presentations of Power BI, Microsoft always like me to throw in these slides because they are always a leader at the top. But these are used to analytical web organizations go away and they compare and contrast the different reporting platforms I've right there. In the latest Forrester Wave and the Magic Quadrant, you can see there Microsoft are leaders. Microsoft continue to invest heavily in Power BI. It is a world-leading reporting platform, and for the price per user that you see, I mean, it's very affordable for commercial organisations. It's extremely affordable. I'm an accountant, so I don't often use the word cheap, but it's extremely affordable for NFPs and charities as well. But Microsoft continue to invest. For those of you who don't know, in the newest ERP systems in that Microsoft are providing, Business Central, and for CRM systems, there are embedded in the product Power BI areas. So they're expecting users to use Power BI for their reporting, in addition to what's in the core systems and the core views that you get. Now, what Power BI does, and when I was doing the initial sort of investigations into Power BI, I went around and we spoke to a lot of customers, a lot of prospects, and used some of our experiences in the past to really come up with some common reporting issues that most organizations face. You're resource intensive, you're always reliant on finance, you're always reliant on somebody creating reports. You're very reactive instead of proactive, because by the time people have done their jobs, got through a month-end process, got to the end of knowing all the information's in, if it's CRM, you're always looking at historical data, and you're then starting potentially the process for the next month, again within 2 or 3 days. So you're very reactive. Siloed systems, different systems make it really difficult to bring the information together. And content and distribution, this is the one that really often was said. Reports emailed to everybody manually. If you email something, you can ignore it. You can get blinded by data. And the difficulty for non-finance people are people who do not understand how the data is brought up to see these reports. And something that came across, and I have seen it before in places of work, but if you export data into Excel, it's very, very easy for lines to be deleted from the source data and then graphs and visuals and reports built without that data that's been deleted in it, which allows, you can manipulate, you can have different versions of the truth then. So this is something obviously that we can address via Power BI, and that no one version of the truth is something that really does and was said a number of times. Different people providing different reports with different things taken out, where it should all be the same and different numbers coming out from different areas of the organization. So how does Power BI deal with these? So with regards to the resource intensive, obviously, we build the reports, you build the reports. Once they are done, the auto refreshing of the data means that these reports just keep on populating. Nobody's got to go in and trigger something. Nobody's got to do anything. So you can see your reporting, your month-end reports, your financial reports. You can see them building up throughout the month as transactions are posted. You can see your CRM reports on, income by geographical location. You can see them building up per month all the time. This isn't resource intensive once they've been built, which allows you to, and we've got customers looking from a finance point of view. We have customers who are seeing where gaps are in postings by the end of the month, instead of having to wait till the end of the month to create the reports and see. They can see information, they can see strengths, they can see areas that are problems or areas that are good as transactions are being processed. In CRM data, you can see income that is being missed. If there's trends in income, if you're having a really bad month, you can see that straight away because of the fact these reports are updating based on an auto refresh schedule, and you can get that information straight away. For your siloed systems, the multiple data sources and into your Power BI report, and we'll go through this a bit more shortly about what you need to be wary of, but the fact you can load in data from CRM, you can load in data from a SQL database, you can load in an Excel mapping if you wanted to, you can load in ODBC data, you can load in all them data sources into the model. Now, you do need to think about relationships between the different tables, but you can load them all in, which really allows organizations to give that 360 view reporting from Power BI. We will go through that shortly and just give an example of how Power BI can be used to do that. With regards to content and distribution, so you share reports. You do not share the source underlying data, you share the reports. So people will only see what you as a report author, you as an organization, want them to see. They're not going to be able to go in unless you give them access to create a load of different reports. You're not giving them access to the underlying data. You are giving them shared access to a report that has been built for them to make their life easier. From that, you can really determine, as I said before, whether it's a dashboard, whether it's visuals. You can really tailor your reports based on who is getting, who the report viewer is. You're not emailing anything out, you're providing access, as I said, 24/7, and there's different ways you can get that information to different people. You might be able to share a report. You could share a report with some people, but every report in the world, they're never going to look at it. But there are other options to get that data in front of individuals, which we'll go through. And for me, this information is the biggest thing because it's connecting to the directly to the data sources. We cannot say that people will interpret the report differently. They will do, potentially. But everybody will be looking at the same data. Everybody will be looking at the same provided report. What it does mean, and one thing that Power BI does do, and it's very difficult to get this across to customers, the first thing it highlights is your poor data, because it will bring everything back. It's nothing, you've not got the ability to manipulate it before the report. It connects, as I said, to the source. So if there's bad data in your source system, there will be bad data in the report. What it does do, however, is also drive the correct governance. And if there is a misposting, if there is something that's wrong, you have to go to the core system and change that. So it's all driving the right behaviors in an organization. Everybody's seeing the same data sources, everybody's seeing it as it should be seen, and you're seeing it quicker, depending on who the person is, what kind of report it is. So you really do have that, it mitigates that misinformation risk that organizations have. And I want to just touch on the multiple data sources a bit more before we go into the product, and how, just give a sort of visual representation on how Power BI can really assist in this, because we are not naive enough at m-hance to think you're just using one system for everything. We know that there are end-to-end systems, you're using manual forms, we're doing a lot of different things. And to really get the benefit of that 360 view, how Power BI can really address that. So, you know, we are aware, and we have something on here now. This is using an NFP as an example, but you may have a volunteer management system, a donor management system, fund, campaign. You've got your marketing stuff going on, manual forms, spreadsheets, Word docs, and then in the middle of it, you've got your ERP system. Now, in essence, that looks quite sort of nice. There's not too much there. You may have your volunteer and your donor management in one system, but it looks clean. If then I say, right, well, potentially then if I wanted to do 360 view, this is what we'd have to look at, all your different relationships between all your different systems. If I take that away, actually, you've got no chance, have you, when you look at that? If you're trying to bring that together in a manual process, manual reporting, to provide sort of logic to that by some of the reporting tools that are out there, you're going to really, really struggle. You're not going to be able to get that. So like I said, on the face of things, previous slide, you know, you have your nice systems. There's 34 different joins. And the problem is with that is you've got all your different systems managed by different people, all of them who have got their own reporting requirements, and people within their team have their own reporting requirements. You're going to have information that's duplicated in multiple areas, which always causes a problem. And you know, you've got, as a finance person, this is the thing that always sticks with me. Finance are always at the end of this process, and quite often that finance get asked to do the reporting, either as part of the management pack, the fund pack, whatever, a trustee report. And, you know, it's not an efficient use of somebody going through and trying to do that report via the traditional reporting methods to bring that all together. You're relying on so many people. It's not an efficient use of you or your team's time at all. But if you then sort of look at this a bit logical, and this is what Power BI tries to do, it says, where are the common reference points in these systems? So the same systems before. And when you look, you know, your ERP system may carry a supplier ID, a contact ID in your grant management system, contact ID somewhere else. In your fund balances in your ERP system, you're going to have fund management in the system somewhere. You could have it in a spreadsheet. There are common reference points between your different systems. And that's why then, this is where in Power BI you would load these systems in and you will create relationships between these tables. So it doesn't need to be all in the one place, it can be between different systems. And that's where Power BI comes in. So Business Central, CRM, Excel, Power Apps, SQL back stuff, GP, ODBC. All these data connections can go into a Power BI model, Power BI desktop. You've then just got to think about how the tables join. Because once you have these table joins, it really does enable you to do some really, really good things. And just before I move on to collaboration, let's have a look at that. So if I go onto a Power BI desktop report, and we'll go through what the different sorts of Power BI options are shortly. This is, if I just go here to our data sources, I'm linked here to Business Central data and some CRM data. It could be any data really, just two sources in this model. I've got my P&L linking purely over here to our Business Central chart of accounts and general ledger entries there. But if I go to our income statement monthly, what I'm able to do on this income statement is I've got event grades. That has come from our CRM system. I want to potentially do an income statement via gender, an income statement via age bracket. These areas here are coming from our CRM table. And all it is a case of doing, if I go into modeling and manage relationships, you can see here I've created relationships between our event code in CRM table and our dimension table in Business Central. I've got relationships between different elements of contact in CRM against our vendor number because we pay grants out there. So we want to see what has been paid out in grants. So I've built these relationships into this model from two different data sources, which allows me within this one page, which is just a P&L report, if I wanted to look at an event and we have different event grades, if I wanted to look at a P&L by event level 1, this data is in CRM, it's not in Business Central, it's not in your finance system, but it's letting me filter via a relationship on which bits are in the system, which allows you to keep your systems where they need to be. Do I need this event grade level in a finance system? Not really. But is there a potential that I want to be able to look at a P&L by event grade? And if I come into event grade display and I just roll that into this report here, I can now say, if I go event grade there, I've now got a P&L by the different event grades with reference numbers in, with the values in, with all that. Very, very quick, very, very simple through the relationship that we've made in the table. If I wanted to see a P&L by middle-aged people, there it is. This will actually tell me who that person is, and I feel a bit sorry for Adam. Adam's one of our consultants on our ERP side, and I can tell you he's not middle-aged, he's less than that, but somebody's put him as that in our system. But as you can see there, straight away I can see what grants have been paid to that individual in a P&L. That could be, I've got young adults in, we can see who it is, we've got adults in. The more people you've got in, it will filter down. I want to look at it by female, male, not specified. I've got all this information within Power BI model. And this is an example of just BC and CRM data. If we were looking at an example of potentially GP data, again, on our GP reports, we can have a category, for reporting your chart of account categories, an Excel spreadsheet, your SQL back system. All you're doing is creating these relationships all the way through the process, no matter what data source it is, to give you a reporting capability that allows you to keep the data. Doesn't allow you, it stops you clogging up your systems with data it doesn't need. Power BI does all the legwork to give you that 360 view, dependent on different tables and different things that you want to look at. So once you've done that, how do we do this reporting in Power BI? And I think it's because we get asked this question a lot, really, because some people have Power BI free licenses as part of their Office 365 licensing. And I think it is worth going through the different options of licensing and what we at m-hance recommend you guys would use as part of this. So the first thing is Power BI Desktop. It's a free tool. And what we use Power BI Desktop for, and we always say to do this, is to build the reports. This, what I showed you before, this is Power BI Desktop. There's no auto refresh schedule. You can drag and drop fields as I did before. You can create the different pages on a report. You have to refresh this data manually by clicking refresh. But this is whilst reports are being built, this is work in progress reporting. This is on my laptop. Nobody else knows that I've got this here unless I save it in the shared site and people can access it. But this is what we use, Power BI Desktop, to build the report. It's for personal use, and it has manual refresh capabilities. So we use the desktop to create the report. You then have different options of how far you want to go as regards to Power BI Online. So the first option is Power BI Free, and this is the one that most organizations get through their Office 365 licensing. Extremely quick, extremely easy to use. You have the ability to publish reports from your desktop. So once I've done, you can click on this publish icon here, and that will allow me to publish this report into the online environment. Your reports then are available via your mobile and tablet devices, but this free is for personal use only. It doesn't allow for you to share these reports out with anybody else in your organization. So these are reports you want to create for you, that you want to have for you, and only you need. And that's where the Power BI free license comes in. It's a personal online availability regards to accessing your own reports wherever you need to access them. Power BI Pro is where it's at for me personally. This, you do the same publishing, but this allows you to share reports with other Power BI Pro license holders. You can schedule your auto refresh data up to 8 times in a day, so you can have that refreshing every hour in a working day if you wanted. You can have it where it's refreshing overnight, depending on what kind of report it is, depends on your frequency. You can create dashboards across all the visuals, which we'll show you shortly. You can create report subscriptions, so that is where for people who you never get, you can share with them but they never go in. You can get that data to them in other ways via Office 365 functionality. Power BI Pro is aimed, and this is, so it's a Microsoft's own wording, aimed at 0 to 500 users in an organization. And that's where your collaboration really does come in. There is also Power BI Premium. Now, I didn't want to put expensive on here, but as I said before, your Power BI Pro licensing is very affordable from an organization. Your premium is looking at next level. So it's licensed per capacity and not user. So it's licensed per how many reports you're going to have and how much data that is consuming. It's aimed at 500 plus user organizations on Power BI. You can have this data refreshing as many times a day, really up to 48 that you need. And the biggest thing that they say is that it caters for data sets with multi-million rows of data quickly. And that is multi-million. Power BI Pro, we've worked with some organizations where 3, 4, 5, 6 million lines of data, it works fine. The large scale ones are multi-million rows of data and you process them quickly, but you are paying a premium for that. So us at m-hance, we've never come to anybody who we believe needed Power BI Premium. We always work with the desktop, as you saw before, and then Power BI Pro, because Power BI Pro licensing really does enable that collaboration around organizations. And it's well worth me showing that. So we've got our reports. Once you have built the reports in Power BI Desktop, you publish them. And then you can save the source file somewhere safe, the desktop file somewhere safe. When you publish the report, it comes into your Office 365 environment. And it comes in, and you can go in, and if I just click on Power BI, let me show what that looks like, just the header page. It will come in, and you will see the different access to the different reports, your favorite ones, you can go through. We can have a list here on my workspace, all the different reports that we've got access to, and there's a lot on here, as you can imagine, across all the different systems that we deal with at m-hance. The first thing you will know when you publish Power BI, and this is our CRM part where you get a nice little dashboard. We've got all the different areas of our CRM management system. But the first thing that you note is at the right-hand side here, you do not see all the fields that are available in Power BI Desktop. So if I move back to Power BI Desktop, because you are creating the reports here, you see all the fields and all the tables in this model that you can build to create the reports. Once published, you do not see that. So that means this report is gone. It's there, we're ready to go. And you still see the same level of information. So I can still go through and see, income date if I wanted to put filters on it, if I wanted to see for the last year, calendar year, and it will filter all this information very quickly, different graphs, different visuals. If I go to awards, We've got our rewards page. You can see here decision date between these dates. We've got all this information all in the system and all reading from the same data source. So if I now just go back to that and I look at our CRM reporting pack and go to the data source. This is where you schedule for auto refresh. So we have this scheduled daily to refresh at 4 a.m. every morning. That means you come in the next day, all the reports, all the data has been refreshed from the previous day, and that is the report we were just looking at. So, and you can have that up to 8 times. You can have that working every day through the process. There it is. We've got a nice little home page which allows us to click on there. So you can build these reports. We've got a full list of contacts, where they are in the system, all that. We do, you know, and we have the CRM report. We have our BC reports that some of you may have seen. What you can then have is you to share these reports with other users. You click on the share button. Very, very simple. And you can say, do I want this to go to people with access already? Do I want it to go to people in your area? Do I want it to go to specific people? You then have the option to say, allow recipients to share this report. So can they share it with other people? And you've also got the option, which is unticked, allow recipients to build content with the data associated to this report. That's unticked as standard. If you tick that, you are allowing the person to download this report into Power BI Desktop and see the tables. So obviously keep that as unticked as what you would want to do. But if I move to specific people now, this is where this will look up anybody in the organization. So if they're on your Office 365 tenant, you will just type in the people you want to share that report with. So you can share different reports with different people dependent on what the report is. Very easily. They then get a sharing link and they can access that report whenever they want to access it. One other thing that we can do though in Power BI is through the Power BI Pro is create dashboards. So, you know, if I hover over any visual on any of these reports, and I'll just go back to overview, I have the ability, you see this little pin icon, and it's over every single report in the system. So if I put that to be for the last 5 years as standard, I've got my income by bracket in. If I click on the pin, what that allows me to do, I can pin that visual to an existing dashboard, or I can create a new dashboard. But I'll just pin it to an existing one, a mixed data dashboard, and click pin. So now if I go to that dashboard, this has information from across reports. So this, you can pin the visual from the CRM report. If I go to our reporting pack report and look at just this balance by supplier group here, and just pin that one to it as well. Oh, that's on a different system. I'll go to Gold Plus. If I wanted to pin this report, I can put that to mixed data dashboard and pin. So now if I go to this dashboard now is taking me to, and I can expand that out to where it needs to be. I've got a dashboard from different reports with different visuals on it that I can now share with an individual as well. So you don't need to share reports. You don't need to share the whole report. You can choose and create dashboards and just share dashboards with individuals dependent on how much summary data you want some people to see. Some people in your organization will want to see the report drill down to transactional level. Other people will just want a dashboard. And you can really control who gets to see what and when. And again, you're just sharing that dashboard with them. Power BI Pro allows you to go even further than that as well. So as I've said before, you can share a report or a dashboard with people who you can give them access to anything you know they're not going to go into. But what you can do is this subscribe option here. So if I click on subscribe, you can add a new subscription, and that can go, it goes as an email to an individual, and you can set that to go frequency, however you want it to be. say daily frequency, send it to people on your Office 365 with your subject, whatever. Now, an example of this is our CFO at m-hance. We have adopted Power BI for our organisation. At 5 o'clock every day, he gets a dashboard emailed to him saying how much money's in the bank, how much money's been collected today, how that's going against our credit controller's target, what the over 90-day debt is, and what the value of creditors are that are overdue. And that comes out to him every day at 5 o'clock when we know all the transactions have been posted. And what does that look like? So if I just go into one of the ones I have on my email, it comes through as a PDF attachment in front of me straight away, same time every day. It could be once a week, could be however it is of it. But that gets sent to me. I don't have to even go into the system to see that. That is sent to me as a snapshot of organizational performance every day. And that can cover Power Apps, as I said, it could be a collation of reports across your Power BI reporting report. It could be a dashboard, it could be a reporting page. We can subscribe and do that, but that is via the Power BI Pro licensing as well. And that really does enable you as an organization to get that data to the people who you need to get it to at the right time. So how can m-hance help you do that? And we've got some different things that we do. And looking from the bottom up on this, so m-hance understand the data structure of the systems that we sell. So, whether you're one of our products, Power Apps, ETs, everything. We understand how the tables are built. We understand where the relationships are between the tables. So we can create that successful model in Power BI. This isn't something, the one thing just to say before I go through the others, we're not precious about Power BI. It's a great reporting tool. It's something that, I'm a champion of and I would like to think can add value to any organization. If you guys know that, and you guys know your table structure, you know where your systems are, you know where the relationships are, we've got different options of how we can work with you and help you get to where you need if you need our help. So we understand the data structure. I'm hopeful most of you by now know that we have Power BI reporting packs for the systems that we sell, the pre-configured packs, CRM, GP, Business Central, i365. We do the Power BI reports for the Power Apps. We can implement them quickly, but one thing that these packs do have in them, which some of our customers find really useful, they might want to change the reports and the way the reports are shown on the pages, but the reporting models, if I go back to here on our GP reporting pack, I can, one of the things that saves customers a lot of time is the one thing that you do have in this model is all the relationships set up between the core financial tables already. So you can go away confident that if you want to change a field in a report, it's not going to throw up an exception because there's no relationship. That is part of that model. So it does accelerate that learning process. We also do bespoke report writing. So we're also aware that, our reporting packs don't meet some customers' requirements and you have your own. So, because we understand the data structure, our consultants are Power BI trained that we can work in Power BI and create that reports for you. And the key sort of logic and rule to remember is if the data is within that reporting model, Power BI should be able to report on it for you. We have some customers who, at the very first of this, realize that you've got to get, and it's getting people thinking about what data and what field relationships are missing. And you may need some customization of the system to put in a data field that allows you to create the relationships to do the reporting. But we can report, we can go through, we can look at your system and we can create reports for you. We have also the ability to do Power BI training. As I said before, we're not precious. I personally, when I was doing this with some customers, would be very annoyed if a customer will come back to us and say, how do I add this column to a report and things like that. We would, through the development, through the reporting pack, via the bespoke report writing, we do an element of training to allow you guys to see how it's built and understand. But if you guys have some clever people. If you guys have people who have built macros, VLOOKUPs, you know, thousands of hidden tabs in an Excel spreadsheet, we would be able to work with them guys and give them Power BI training to make you self-sufficient in that. And what that will allow, the cream on the top, the final piece is an ongoing Power BI requirement for organizations. You decide as an organization whether it's more efficient to come to us to help you create reports or whether you do them yourself. We should, as a partner, somebody giving you the training on Power BI, leave you with the ability to make that decision and leave your staff with the ability to really have Power BI in your own hands, because it is a very, very powerful tool that allows organizations to really, really take their reporting to the next level in a safe, easy, and inbuilt in a product that Microsoft are pushing hugely and investing in hugely where. So you know this isn't something that you're going to have to revisit in 18 months' time. It really is. I can't stress enough. I find I wish Power BI had been around as it is now 8 years ago, because it would have made my life so much easier when I was trying to bring together order analysis through CRM, opportunity analysis into cash and doing cash profiling. It's a brilliant, brilliant tool that, as long as you can think about your table relationships, will allow you as an organization really to move forward in your analytics and your reporting. And that's it. Appreciate that is that's high level really for what Power BI can do. We can, you know, and we're more than happy to have discussions. It'd be myself, the account manager, we can bring in consultants, talk to you about any of the reporting requirements that you want to address via Power BI. If you want to go through something more specific, please drop myself or your account manager an email. We've got some further resources there. As you can see, we've got more events coming up, specific events with regards to our Power BI reporting packs for the different products that we do. But if you want to talk at a more generic level, please email me. I can't see if there's any questions or not yet, but I will go through any questions that we've had and come back to you today. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Hope that it was of value to you. Like I say, if you have any questions, please do get in contact. And thank you very much. We'll look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you.